Hey guys, my name's Kian Hushmand, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the new DSP Quad Cortex and how we can use it at its full capacity to basically make any tone that we want. Let's have a look. So the tone that we're going to make today is based off Alpha Wolf's guitar tone. If you don't already know, Alpha Wolf is an Australian band, and one of the things that they're known for is their absolutely crushing guitar tone. So dense, so heavy, yet you can hear everything that's happening. It's super articulate, but it's just so heavy. So Lance Prentz, the audio mixer engineer of all things Alpha Wolf, got into contact with me asking me to try out his new IRs. And I thought there wouldn't be a better way to try them out for myself than to actually try and make an Alpha Wolf tone. So he sent me all the details of all the amps that they use and all the overdrives and all that stuff, and I'll try my best to replicate that on my Quad Cortex. So using the actual album stems from their song Creep from their latest album A Quiet Place to Die, I'm going to be importing my own guitars using the tone that I made on the Quad Cortex to kind of see if it sounds the same. I think we got pretty close. And then we'll go through how I actually made the tone on the Quad Cortex, and I'll be uploading that to the Cortex cloud. So if you do have a Quad Cortex or you're planning on getting one, you can download that tone straight from the cloud and try it out for yourself. You can do that by searching my account at Kian Hushmand. So before we start, if you guys like this video at any time, please feel free to leave a like and a comment on anything you see or hear. And if you want to see more of this stuff, definitely let me know and definitely subscribe. If you want to support me directly, you can check out my Patreon and all my affiliate links. All that stuff will be down in the description below. So how does it sound in a mix? I think it sounds pretty close, but what we're going to do now is I'm going to play through the tone isolated, so it's not going to be going through a mix, it's not going to have any post-processing on it, it's just going to be me, my guitar, going through the Quad Cortex so you guys can hear the tone as it is. And then after I'll show you guys how I made it. So here is the tone that I made using the newer DSP Quad Cortex in conjunction with the Lance Prentz Audio IRs. So I've imported those IRs into my Quad Cortex through the cloud using my Cortex account. As you can see, I'm using the IRs there. And the way it works is that my guitar is being fed through input 1 here. It goes through these series of blocks. Somewhere along the line, it gets split into 2 different channels. It goes through a final EQ and then gets sent to the master out. All of the overdrives and amps and settings and cabs and all that stuff are based on the recommendations from Lance himself, as he actually did track the guitars for the latest Alpha Wolf record. So starting off, we have a gain, and I'm increasing the gain by 12 dB. This is something that I noticed straight away when I was using my own guitar. So I have a guitar that has a bare knuckle Juggernaut pickup in it, whereas the guys from Alpha Wolf use Fishman Fluence pickups. And when listening back to the actual album stems, I noticed that the guitars were extremely saturated. Not saturated from running more gain or running more master. It was basically just from the input itself, because the bare knuckle pickups I find are very particular to your playing. It's very, very nuanced, whereas the Fishman Fluences are a little bit hotter. So adding 12 dB of gain was basically a necessary part of the whole tone. And that's not the only gain staging that's happening, but that is the first block in the tone. Next, we got a pitch shifter, and I'm shifting my guitar down 1 semitone because my guitar is currently set up in drop A flat, whereas the guys in Alpha Wolf play in drop G. So just putting it down 1 semitone so it just matches with the same pitch. And then we have a pre-EQ, but as you can see, the values in here are pretty extreme, although you don't hear it that much because it is happening before everything else. It's not coloring it as much as you think it would, but there are some big moves being made. Mainly just kind of sculpting the whole tone to kind of fit more with the original kind of tone of the guitars within the actual album. I think this has something to do with the pickups as well, but these were the moves that I made. Moving on, we have another gain stage. So after that's happened and after it's gone through the EQ, I'm pushing it up another 12 dB. And this was to get the right amount of saturation compared to the actual album stems, because when you do listen to the album stems, they're very, very saturated, very in your face, whereas before I ran this, you could kind of hear everything a little bit clear, which I like. But for an Alpha Wolf tone, for a breakdowny band, they kind of like the sludge of the gain. So this makes sense for me. Because we added all of that gain over here and over here, I actually added the noise gate after the gain, and as you can see, the threshold is pretty high, but it is because we are running through the EQ and then the 2 different gain stages, and then as you can see, the settings are pretty extreme as well. So it's basically just clamping down whenever I stop playing. And then from here, the signal gets split into 2, and it's about an 85-15% blend. So as you can see, on the first lane, I've got the Abominable Hellmouth 1 capture that I downloaded from the CORTEX app and imported into my quad CORTEX. This is the pedal that they use when tracking, so I just downloaded a capture of it. Moving on, we have a PV5150 on the lead channel, gain at about 7, bass around 6, mids cut back a little bit at 3, treble pretty high, master pretty high, presence pretty high, depth very high to get that kind of sludge and the saturation that I was hearing from the album stems, and then just kind of playing with the output just a little bit, turning it down ever so slightly, just to match the master that I ended up turning up. And then from here, we're using the Lance Prince Audio IR. So the first one is the Mesa 4x12 Cream Scoop IR, and then the second one is the Mesa 4x12 Sure Thang. The first one is more prominent, I'm letting it run at 0 dB, and the second one is at negative 6.5 dB. So this one is like the bulk of the tone, and this one is just adding flavor. Moving on to the next blended in lane, we have the Myth Drive with gain all the way off, treble at 5, and level all the way up. The Myth Drive is meant to be replicating the Klon Drive, and they were using a Klon clone when actually tracking the Alpha Wolf record. So to me, it just made sense to use the Myth Drive here. And then the second amp that they used to blend in with the 5150 is the Diesel H4. It's on channel 4, and Lance specifically said to make sure it's super scooped. So as you can see, mids are at 2.7 and everything else is pretty standard. And then from there, we're using the Lance Prince Audio IRs again, and we're using the Orangutan pack with the SM57-1, so it's right up to the speaker, and then it's being blended in with a Mesa KM184-1. So again, right up to the speaker. That one's the blend, that one's the main one. As you can see, when I hold down onto the lane, and then click here, you can see that level B, which is the second lane, is being blended in. So I've turned it down, so it's just adding a little bit of flavor, and then both of those get fed into one final EQ. Nothing crazy happening here, just a low cut at around 50 Hertz, and then just kind of taking out some 2.1-ish K over here. And that's the Alpha Wolf tone that I made using the quad CORTEX. So there you have it. Definitely let me know what you guys think, and definitely let me know what you think of the quad CORTEX. I haven't actually done a proper video on it yet because there's so much stuff to delve into. I've had it for a month now. There will be a video coming soon. Definitely check out the Lance Prince Audio IRs. This video would not be possible without those IRs because it's a very specific sound, and I got very close to the Alpha Wolf tone using those IRs. Again, if you guys like this video at any time, please feel free to leave a like and a comment on anything you saw or heard. And if you want to see more of this stuff, definitely think about subscribing. Again, if you guys want to support me directly, you can check out my Patreon and affiliate links. All that stuff will be down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all my Patreons. I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.